Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Arsenal Waffle. Something I've decided to start doing. Arsenal season ticket holder, and I've been away a lot this season. And I thought, you know what? Let's start talking about the Arsenal. I know everyone else is, so just add this to the rest of everyone else who wants to do that. But why not start with the hottest ticket in Europe tonight? Arsenal Manchester City. It's going to be a tough one, obviously. And Man City coming off the back of a good win against Villa at the weekend. Obviously, we've got Villa coming up this weekend, but we'll talk about that in a couple of days. And not the best bit of form that we're in at the minute, but sometimes you need a game like this to refocus the minds. A lot of people talking about a lot of things. Maybe Martinelli being not so much dropped, but maybe rested, if you want to say that, for tonight. I don't think he's been brilliant since he's come back from the World Cup. I mean, I always think back to the Newcastle game where Saka had Dan Burn on toast for nearly 90 minutes, and Saka just couldn't deal with. Martinelli couldn't deal with Kieran Trippier, and sometimes I thought should we maybe have swapped him over, because Martinelli might have got a bit more change out of Dan Burn, whereas Saka, Trippier, you might nullify Trippier a bit more, and maybe he could have got round him a bit better and put a few balls in. Obviously, that's come and gone, but where there's a bit of a rigid style to Arteta's, I know it's a style, but anyway, the way that Arteta's been, the lack of flexibility regarding rotation. Everyone knows that they're safe. Everyone knows that they're going to play. That lack of, it's not even depth, it's competition. To say, do you know what, we'll take you out and we'll give you a couple of weeks to maybe earn your place back. And I don't want to pick on Martinelli, but I think Trossard needs to have a run, and I think he needs to start tonight personally. For me, the back five picks itself, but then having the luxury of Tierney in for, well, maybe not even in for Zinchenko, maybe in for Xhaka, and swap Zinchenko and Xhaka over and put Tierney fullback. But then Mahrez against Tierney, Zinchenko against Mahrez. You do wonder which one's the better option. And on the other side, I think Ben White, I've really have liked Ben White this season. I know everyone else has, obviously, and he's been fantastic. And I'll come to something a bit different later on with Ben White. But at the moment, I think the team does kind of pick itself with maybe swapping Martinelli out and bringing Trossard in. I guess another option is, do you play Martinelli out front and put Nketiah on the bench? And off the top of my head, I think of Sanchez against Bayern Munich when we won 2-0 a few years ago with Giroud and Ozil. And just imagine Martinelli chasing down Akanji. I just think really Martinelli's energy might be better suited up top tonight. The three energetic players up top. It's not a night to think about interchanging players, putting one on one side and then every 20 minutes swapping over. But it is a night to kind of run your socks off and hope that we might nick something out of this. We have got the depth in defence, like I said, to even put Ben White in the centre and put Tomiyasu fullback if we have to go to really going for it. Or, Rob Holding's obviously someone who can come in when it comes to really holding it tight. But unless they are going to swing balls in, which I can't see City doing, Rob Holding is more suited for, a team who do want to play long ball, a team who do want to swing the ball in. But tonight, you think, worst case, if we are lucky to get a goal without putting us down too much, you think Martinelli up top, put Ben White in the centre, bring Tomiyasu at the right and play a 3-5-2 or 5 at the back. I mean, tonight it's a game where it's win by hook or by crook. I don't really mind how we get the 3 points. Not only to get back on route to doing well, but obviously to get that other 3 points off this lot and then go 6 points clear with the game in hand against Everton in, a week and a half, 2 weeks. You hope that we get a bit of revenge off them, but again, another game for another day. But, tonight, like I said, I'll take whatever we get, and I think every Arsenal fan would. It's totally different though, because we're we're not doing so well against teams who are going to stifle us. And, teams will try and suck the air out of our energy. But City are a team who play off of a lot of energy. And I can't see them... I don't know. Obviously, you can't see them seeing back. They need to win, on top of the fact that, they play to win every game. They are a quality outfit, no matter what you think of them. And that's where tonight a point is satisfactory. You can't walk away and say, oh, well, that was a bad point. But at the same time, you have to look and think a win is a must-needed thing, not just because, to gain that more ground, but also we need to get back on track. Like I said, thick and fast now with Everton coming up in a few weeks. I don't know why I've bypassed Leicester and Villa, but yeah, Leicester, Villa, Everton, Fulham. It's really, they are all kind of winnable games thereafter. But then again, people would have said Everton, when they're bottom of the league, was a winnable game. It's just that manager bounce. Brentford at the weekend, we let that slip. But then if it's going the other way and it's 0-0 or 1-0 down going late on, I still don't understand why Mikel Arteta isn't thinking about putting Gabriel, and this is the centre-half, if I can pronounce it, up front and maybe being a bit more direct, or even going out wide and swinging balls in, because we've got no one in that team aerially who can get on the end of crosses. Martinelli sometimes come around the back post, but do you consider him the target, or do you consider it slightly over hit cross? I don't know, but really you got to think of a different way of winning games at the minute, because at the moment people have sussed us out slightly. And you think if we can get a good result tonight, it will hopefully be the springboard to push on to better things. But I still think in the window we should have got a big man striker. Danny Welbeck, Giroud always come up good. Everyone's showing a Valentine's Day goal against Leicester. Good ball into the box, that could be the Ødegaard. Danny Welbeck is the tall player that gets on the end of it. Same applies tonight. You need someone as a different option, because Nketiah isn't going to be fantastic in the air against these two centre-halves. And it's just someone to give them something else to think about. Might not be as mobile, but at the same time, they're going to be a different threat. Gives us that other option to swing the ball in. Instead of a low cross to the back post of Trossard at the weekend, it's something stood up at the back post where someone's going to crash in and head it in. But personally, I don't know how it will go tonight. It will be very tough. I'm guessing it will kind of be cagey. It won't be to and fro. Not early on, obviously. But I don't know, these games, how do you watch it? You go in with massive adrenaline as a fan, because it's a big game. Man United at home, what atmosphere was that night. But this game, it's something different, because you've got the two going for the title. Everyone else is slipping up around them to a point. Man United, the draw against Leeds could have been more. They're not a Newcastle drawing as well against Bournemouth. These two really need to push each other at the minute, and I'm hoping they spur us on to do better. Sorry to use that word, but we really need to do well off the back of a City result that isn't positive, and we also need to do our own thing. Especially that, we need to do our own thing. But we'll see how it goes. And whatever happens tonight. We can't affect it, but the players obviously can. And we'll leave it at that. I'll talk to you about the game afterwards, and then we'll look to head to Villa at the weekend, which I'm going to, thankfully. We'll talk soon.